Skypiea. I guarantee y'all I'm gonna spell that wrong 7 times over this video, but Skypiea. I figured it out. Skypiea was a giant setup, a giant world building setup. The Straw Hats cross the Grand Line, come out of a classic coup d'etat thriller. So what is Skypiea finna do to follow all of that without even watching a minute of this arc? I can sense a huge character arc in your future. You need to be redeemed after playing Pirate Secretary in the last arc, but you are starting to be feared in these seas. Well, some of these seas. And as for the rest of you, never change. 7 Straw Hats, 7 volumes, and 43 episodes all being released in 03 and 04. Ironically, at the same time as the Chunin exams in Naruto and the original Full Metal Alchemist. Alright y'all know me, I'ma be real. I like Skypiea, let me be clear, rhyming accidentally. An 81-person Battle Royale arc, before Battle Royales were cool, was definitely a must watch. But while I'm on this journey of watching all of One Piece, I wouldn't say it's my favorite arc. And if I'm being real, Skypiea didn't give me the exact same suspense-filled drama that I'm so used to when watching One Piece in arcs like Arlong Park, Alabasta, or Logtown even. And trust me y'all, I know, all of One Piece arcs aren't gonna be peak even if One Piece itself is a goated anime. But then boom, it hit me. It was all a giant world building setup. You cannot have One Piece without Skypiea. Don't believe me? 100 million berry bounty, damaging the Going Merry, Montara, Dows, Poneglyphs, Poseidon, 300 million berries to repair the Going Merry. The whole concept of Sky Islands in general. Even the One Piece anime itself gets set up with HD animation after this arc. I was being so for real when I said that there was so much world building setup. Skypiea sets up Water 7 like Serena Williams sets up a serve, which in turn sets up Ina's Lobby. Skypiea sets up Usopp's eventual power boost, which carries on for the rest of the series. Oda even finds a way to set up the Thousand Sunny, Blackbeard, Seabody Archipelago, all seeds planted during the Skypiea arc. It does more subtle setup than I've seen in any arc thus far. Granted, I haven't seen all the arcs yet, but that's what this whole journey's about, right? My One Piece that I'm sharing with y'all is actually finishing One Piece. Hey, what's up y'all? It's the Bread Show, where we give our anime and gaming opinions while doing a little bit of animated and gaming ourselves. And this is the second episode in the whole One Piece series that I'm doing. Last time we did Alabasta, this time we hitting Skypiea, and people who watch One Piece know what's next, Water 7 in his lobby. For those of you that will watch One Piece, y'all will see that Skypiea and Alabasta have nothing to do with each other, and Skypiea and all of the rest of the arcs really aren't the same structure and style. But that's all part of the stuff that makes One Piece really good. And after watching this arc, and to be honest with you, I've watched a couple arcs beyond this, I've seen that a lot of stuff was set up during the Skypiea arcs that turn into eventual payoffs. And something that I hope eventually pays off for y'all is liking and subscribing to this channel, you know what I'm saying? Liking the video. Yeah, y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoy the video. And I can see a lot of y'all are not subscribed, but that's okay. Hopefully by the end of this video, I can convince you to subscribe to the Bread Show, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a One Piece fan, because I'm doing a whole One Piece series right now. So, you know, let me know something. But also bear with me in the comments because I am watching this all for the first time. And also, I'm gonna give y'all a quick 60-second little summary of the Skypiea arc to bring you up to speed with me. The Straw Hats arrive in the Sky Islands using a knock-up stream, which basically jets them and their boat up to the sky. They're basically learning about the island's culture, where they find a self-proclaimed god who is basically a tyrant, and he uses the lightning fruit, which is a Logia-type fruit, which makes him basically lightning itself. His real name is Enel, and he wants to destroy Skypiea to move it to Verve. Because the sky people are in the sky and they've never seen the ground, dirt essentially is like gold to them, and gold to them essentially is dirt. So Enel ironically wants to bring Skypiea down to earth. Enel sets up a battle royale type thing in the sky, which eventually leaves it down to Luffy and Enel. Enel uses a lightning fruit, and Luffy is a rubber man. So Luffy actually ends up beating Enel, restoring peace to the Sky Island. The Straw Hats get to end up taking a lot of gold because it's useless to the sky people. Usopp takes home some Dows, and Robin gets to take home some information that she loves after searching through the ruins of Alf the whole time, not really fighting anybody. And that's really it for the 60-second summary of Skypiea. There are 5 different story arcs going on in the Skypiea arc. In no particular order, First is the Go and Mary's demise and Usopp's eventual betrayal, the Will of D B-plot going on, Robin versus the world government to find the ancient weapons, the fallout with Whitebeard's crew post Gold D. Rogers' death, and of course the overall story of finding the One Piece. How the hell does anyone juggle all of this at the same time? One of the things that Skypiea sets up really well is that bounty is a really big deal, at least for Luffy. Zoro's bounty doesn't really mean much. No one ever really mentions it. And Robin's bounty was just given to her like off rip. But Luffy's bounty kind of fits into a bigger story with this whole Will of D stuff. The idea of there is something more going on with Luffy and why he's this amazing than we see on the surface. And we could see that the whole passing on of Will's themes is very obvious in Skypiea. First example of that they kind of put in our faces was Nolan and Cricket. Obviously, Nolan was the liar that found the Golden City or whatever. Turns out there was no Golden City. He was now a liar, and Cricket kind of got on his past will to eventually find the City of Gold from his ancestor. And that was kind of like the successful version of passed on wills. The unsuccessful example of a passed on will was shown with Gonfall and Enel. Gonfall was the king of the Sky People until Enel came and brutally took over his throne, brought in his own priests. So Gonfall didn't get to pass on his will to Enel, which led to this whole big thing. But then the subtle setup of the Will of D wasn't exactly put in our faces. Monkey D. Luffy's and Gold D. Rogers' Will of D seems to be part of a broader narrative that explains why Luffy is kind of like a chosen one. Even though at the part of the story that I'm even at now, I still don't know what the Will of D is. I could just see that it has a chosen one type of vibe to it. And the other thing that helps this whole passing on of wills thing, you know, Luffy is a chosen one thing, is that Luffy is doing things that other great pirates haven't done, but Gold D. Rogers has done. Prior to them getting to Skypiea, back on land, they were pirates that didn't even believe that Skypiea was a place you could not go to the sky with your ship. That was Bellamy, and I'm pretty sure Blackbeard was a part of that too. But then when the Straw Hats actually get to the sky, Robin, who we'll talk about later, eventually finds out that Gold D. Rogers somehow made it to the sky also. Actually, no, rewind that. We're gonna go back to Robin real quick. Robin's power was descaled like Ichigo from the Bunt arc in this arc. Robin did absolutely nothing. I mean, even Chopper caught a body, y'all. Come on now. So yeah, she wasn't really used that much as a fighter, but man, she was really into them poneglyphs. Skypiea also sets up Robin's B-plot into finding out about the Void Century or the Blank Century. Nomenclature depends on which version you're reading. But now even I'm interested in the Void Century / Blank Century mystery. During the Skypiea setup, Robin is giving us hints that she knows, and now that we know, the government isn't as righteous as they make it out to be. Anything concerning the Void Century, anything concerning the Blank Century is blank because of them. First, it was discovering Pluton. Now it's this whole Poseidon thing. It is because of Robin that now we know as an audience, going into future arcs, the Marines and the world government itself has their own secrets that they're not telling, which also gives insights onto why they all hate Robin. For no reason, apparently. Not only did it set up the whole Void Century world government race to find the ancient weapons, it also just literally isolated her as a person, like actually. She was isolated from everyone in the story at one point, which eventually set up her semi-permanent isolation in the following next couple of arcs. And Robin wasn't the only Straw Hat to be set up by Skypiea. Usopp was set up pretty well too. During this arc, the Straw Hats come across a new form of technology, which is the dials. They're like conch cells. You press a button and they perform a task on the backside of the dial. And they're also used throughout the series now. During this arc, yeah, they're used directly as weapons or engines. But at the end of this arc, Usopp actually takes those dials home and starts to use them, which One Piece fans will know gave him like a power boost. So yeah, he starts making weapons for himself and sometimes for other people, which gives him a couple points in the useful category, which was much needed. This probably gives Usopp the courage to do what he did in the next arc, and then also made future weapons like the Kabuto slingshot in Enies Lobby. Not only did Usopp get a couple skill points for the attack damage category, but he also was set up to be the main protector of the Going Merry. Yes, the ship itself, which is now becoming part of the crew. And he's almost set up as like a parental figure of the thing. Now that the audience sees him as the parental figure of the Merry, this sets him up for the most famous scene maybe in all of One Piece, at least the first half. There were certain scenes that seemed like they meant nothing on the surface, but behind the surface, or should I say below the surface, in the following arcs, they didn't mean nothing at all. Usopp and Robin were set up the most in Skypiea, and each of them were given one-on-one little scenes that eventually came to full fruition in the next following arcs. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Usopp wondering who fixed the Mary. Robin finding the poneglyphs. Watching this, you might think to yourself, okay, what does that matter? But Oda is just planting seeds that will pay off in the following arcs, all while you're watching a whole different story. And we haven't even gotten to the Going Mary setup. The Mary being damaged was not a main focus of this arc at all. It was not a think piece, it was not a problem. It was just like, oh, you know, a thing that people noticed. Not until that problem is magnified in the next arc, where it becomes a huge problem. Turns out the little caravel from Syrup Village wasn't fit to soar thousands of feet into the air, dive thousands of feet back into the sea, which eventually made it unfit to even do its regular job, the day job. All of these things, all of these scenes that were in Skypiea eventually made into the directly next arc. But what about the things that didn't show themselves until hundreds and hundreds of episodes later? For example, Mantra. Mantra successfully, softly starts hockey. It gets us used to this Nen type ability that separates the weak from the strong fighters and the strong from the really strong fighters. Mantra we learned about in Skypiea. Hockey, we don't learn that until episode 516. It's things like Mantra in Skypiea or Styx powers in Enos Lobbies, which set us up for hockey, which eventually becomes the main power system. And the Straw Hats don't learn hockey until much, much later. Another thing that was kind of a spotlight in this arc, but is really important for arcs in the future, Logia power fruits. Logia power fruits, I mean Logia devil fruits. Turns out, as we learn in Skypiea, the audience finds out that everybody with a Logia power fruit, those boys are like Saiyans of the One Piece universe. They're just OP. You can't touch them, you can't damage them, and they have some really destructive powers. In the Skypiea arc, the Straw Hats are all in the sky, obviously. But back down on Earth, for the rest of the world, that world is still getting set up for the future arcs as well. We see Blackbeard introduced in episode 146, and he was mentioned in the Alabasta arc. He wasn't really used or featured, fully focused on, until episode 325 when he fights Ace. If you double the number 146, that is still less than 325. And I say that to say, if Oda introduces something in episodes 100 to 200, don't fully expect that to pay off and pay out until like 200 episodes after. And that's what I'm beginning to know after watching Skypiea. Oda is putting pointless scenes into this story that really aren't pointless scenes. They're gonna be called back to from much later in the future. One Piece is now effectively a world with land, sea, sky, and whatever else is going on under the sea. And it's the Skypiea arc that sets all this up and starts us thinking outside of the box of just land and sea, marines and pirates. The world is much bigger than that. So does that mean Skypiea also sets up just a little bit future arcs like Seabody Archipelago? Hey man, I don't know. I haven't gotten to Seabody Archipelago, but when I do, I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna call back to Skypiea probably a few times. Look, y'all, Skypiea is a huge setup. One big setup. Even though I wasn't interested in the main story as much as I was in previous arcs, I could see you can't have the rest of One Piece without Skypiea. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching this long. If you watch this long, you have a top tier attention span. Please like the video, please subscribe. Hopefully I've convinced y'all to subscribe to the channel. Check out the streams. Me and my boy Dex, we be streaming on Sundays, we be streaming on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and some of the days in between. Thank y'all so much. I'm praying for God's blessings on all of y'all. Hopefully y'all have a great day. Spread love, give inspiration in all you do, and peace out.
Welcome to the Crash Show. Take 2.